Well, after running for several more days, I found that whatever that material is flaking off of the inside of the PVC tube. So there you can see the clear electrolyte. The electrolyte level is right here at this point. So I assume it's accumulating here in the bottom. You can see it in the tubes there. So I assume some of it is into the bottom of the cell, but I can't find any changes in the operation. Everything seems to be working just fine. So we'll keep going and see if anything bad shows up. Well, more of the coating is flaking off. And the electrolyte still looks good, but chips of the material are starting to come through the cell. And you can see some laying in here. So I'm afraid things are going to get clogged up. It's really soupy at the bottom. So I'm not quite ready to give up. I'm going to clean this out, and although the electrolyte seems fine, I'm going to put in new electrolyte and run it some more, and if the coating reappears, I'll call it a failure and replace the carbon steel plates with stainless steel plates. But let's give it one more shot here. Well, I've cleaned everything out as best I could. There's still some stains there. And we're back up and running. So we'll let her run for a while and see what happens. Well, after running for a few more days, I'm seeing the brown coating starting to reappear. Now, in the past, I tested that with a magnet in the bottom tubes, but now, and it was not magnetic, but now I'm seeing black stuff, and here's a magnet, and we can see this is definitely magnetic. So I think we're actually deteriorating the plates inside, and I think the experiment's over. And but I'm going to go ahead and tear the unit down and see what we have inside there. And then we'll probably rebuild it with stainless steel plates. Well, I see we got a lot of goop on that plate. And here's rust on the outside. So, although it was working fine, everything's rather black inside. Everything's stuck together pretty good here. Well, I should be wearing gloves. My fingers are starting to burn a little bit. But I'd say it's pretty messy in here. So although it was still working, I would say carbon steel plates are good for a limited amount of time. Maybe for just some quick experimenting. So this unit ran for about 3 weeks, 8 hours a day. So there's quite a few hours on it, but it kept messing up all the rest of the equipment. So I think it's time to think about going to stainless steel plates. Well, after all that, if you're new to HHO or oxyhydrogen or brown gas, you might wonder why it even exists. And it all started back in the 1800s when we had gas lighting, particularly in theaters. But for the bright stage lighting, they used what was called the limelight. You may have heard the expression limelight. And basically, they used oxyhydrogen to heat up a block of calcium, which gave off then an intense white light. So that was before electricity came along. Even before electricity, I believe they started using oxyacetylene for the same purpose. Now, there's some people that generate HHO gas and breathe it for health reasons. There's some people that bubble it through water and then drink the water. And then there's some people that just fill up plastic bottles or balloons with it and ignite them for fun. So then there's a group of people that believe you can increase your gas mileage if you inject HHO into your engine. So we have a whole group of videos about that on YouTube. Then there's some people that think it's good for welding and cutting of metal. And if you know anything about welding and cutting metal, you know there's such a thing as an oxidizing flame and a reducing flame. And most welding is done with a reducing flame. Now you would think that an oxyhydrogen flame would be a neutral flame because of the perfect mixture of hydrogen to oxygen ratio. But because there's oxygen in the air, you end up with an oxidizing flame, and it's not oxidizing enough to do good cutting, and it's not neutral enough to do good welding. So about all you can do is melt nails, and you can see them sparking and so forth in a lot of YouTube videos about that. Now there is one potential use of it, which is why I am kind of interested in it, and that's it makes the perfect heating process for a forge for melting metals. You'll see a lot of videos on forges, metal melting forges, and they usually use propane, and you'll see blowers forcing huge quantities of combustion air into them. And for every cubic foot of oxygen used for combustion, there's 4 cubic feet of nitrogen that come along for the ride. And that's a lot of mass to be heating and then just blowing through your forge. But with the oxyhydrogen flame, you should be able to heat your forge without all that nitrogen going through it. So that's my long-term interest, to get into that. Now there's 2 names in this field. There's Yull Brown. He was an Australian, and that's where the name brown gas or Brown's gas comes from. And some people make some wild claims about his work, and next I'll show you his patents, and you'll see there's nothing crazy about what he was up to. Now this Stanley Meyer, a lot of people claim free energy. Supposedly you can do electrolysis and get more gas, that when you burn it, you get more energy than the electricity that was used to make it. And we can look at his patents and see that no such thing is claimed. So let's do that next. We'll look at these patents. I'll show you how to find a patent and how to read and interpret it. So let's go do that. Here's the patents of Yull Brown, the guy that brown gas is named after. Here's the patent numbers, and here's the titles. Well, there. This one's called Arc-Assisted Oxyhydrogen Welding, and this one's just called welding. And I'll show you how to look at these online, and you can print them out yourself if you want. Now here's the patents of Stanley Meyer. Here's the patent numbers. This one's called Hydrogen Gas Fuel and Management System for an Internal Combustion Engine Utilizing Hydrogen Gas Fuel. No magic there. Here's method for production of a fuel gas. There's no magic there. Control process for the production of thermal energy from gases and apparatus useful thereof. No magic there. Gas generator voltage control circuit. No magic there. So I'll show you the patents online and how to interpret them. Okay, the site we want to get to is United States Patent and Trademark Office, which is uspto.gov. Okay, when we get here, we want to go to patents, and here's the little search symbol. And then here's a search field, and let's enter the name of an inventor, and the format is last name first with a dash, then the first name, and then a dash and the middle initial. Now, Brown did not use a middle initial, so we'll go down here and do a search. And 2 patents come up here. Now, if we click on the patent number, it'll take us here, which is a brief description of the patent. Here's the abstract. And then it shows the claims, which turn out to be the most important thing about a patent. But if you want to see the full patent, come up here and click on Images. And this is the actual first page of the patent. And if you want to see the full document, you come over here and click on Full Pages. And now you're looking at the full document with all the drawings. And then here's the text. And usually the prior art in the field is discussed, and then a description of the intention of the patent and going through all the figures. And then the last thing, but it's the most important thing, is the claims. And these are kind of hard to read because each claim has to be a single sentence. And if you look down through here, you'll see there's only one period. So you can read these claims for yourself. It's pretty straightforward. There's no magic claimed. And if you want to print it out for your own reference, just come back up to the top, and right there's a little printer symbol, and you can print out the full patent. Okay, next let's do a search for Stanley Meyer. Now, he also did not use a middle initial. Now, in this case, it took us to his most current patent, and this is a flaw in the system. You'll find lots of flaws. When I did a search for my patents, the most current one did not come up. And so there's some bugs in the system. But if we scroll down here, right here he refers to his prior patents. So you can enter these patent numbers and go directly to the patents if you want. So let's go to the real patent. This is just page 1, so we have to go there to get the full pages. And there's our title. Here's our abstract. And like I say, the most important thing is the claims. And although he makes everything unnecessarily complex, basically you end up with electrolysis. Well, actually, I think this patent only involves gas. Hydrogen gas fuel management. So if you look through these patents and read the claims carefully, you'll see there's no magic, and it's other people. Well, I guess verbally in a lot of videos he claims some very crazy stuff, but it's not in the patents. So you can look at these things and decide for yourself.